What's up? I'm Wile E. Coyote, voice of SpongeBob, the anime version of SpongeBob SquarePants, and you're watching the Anime Egotists.
Remember, F is not for failure, F is for friends, and it doesn't take a dose of secret formula to know that.
And welcome back to the Anime Egotists, where if Batman attacked us in detective mode, we would just quit.
Exactly, he can kick our butts no matter what.
Yeah, he could. Anyways, though, my name's Alex, and if I'm not wearing long pants, just leave it alone. It's my body, not yours.
Dude, we're in Georgia and it's below freezing. I'm Richard, by the way.
No, it actually isn't. It's like 40 or 50 something degrees. But regardless, welcome back to the podcast. Now, thanks for putting down Scarlet and Violet for a few minutes to listen to this. I'm sure it's working perfectly for everybody. No issues whatsoever. But what we do have issues with are sometimes heroes in anime. Sometimes we love them, sometimes they're great, but sometimes you think to yourselves, are they really the good guys in this?
Exactly. So, we went through all the anime we've watched and picked out heroic or characters that aren't necessarily the villains of their story and made them and decided, what if they had a good villain arc? Not necessarily that they permanently become the villain, but they go through a period where they are the bad guy at least.
Exactly. We talked before about how some heroes, maybe they could have seen, how maybe some villains could have seen the light, but these are heroes who maybe could have gone to the dark side. Permanently? No. But just in a sense, I kind of just think sometimes it's cool to see your favorite hero go bad.
Yeah. I just remembered one actually that I had thought of and I completely forgot about it.
Okay, well with that in mind, do you mind going first so you don't forget it?
Yeah, it's fine. I've already written it down. So I'm gonna start with one that I've heard a lot of people actually have wanted, and I'm kind of interested because of just how powerful his kids are. And that's the Grand Priest from Dragon Ball Super.
Okay.
So people have been speculating since we got introduced to him in the Universe 6 battle arc that he was going to be a bad guy at some point and have all the angels turn against everybody, and so Whis would become a bad guy and all that. But he's the father of all of them. So it's one of those interesting things that I'm kind of interested in, because it's like, okay, how would anybody survive at that point? I mean, they're so overpowered by comparison to everybody else.
Yeah, I agree. I especially remember because in the Tournament of Power, when those first people, that first group got eliminated, and they were saying, Zeno-sama, please don't, and he pushes the button, they all get erased. One of the angels smiles immediately after that. I'm like, what the hell are they planning?
Mm-hmm.
I immediately got nervous the second that happened.
That was when we thought that Dragon Ball Super was going to continue right after this Tournament of Power rather than go on hiatus for who knows how long.
What you gonna do?
But yeah, no, this would just be an interesting story because of how powerful Goku, Vegeta, and the rest of the Z Fighters would probably have to become to be able to defeat Whis and his siblings and then his father.
Yeah. I do get the feeling, though, that deep down, Whis would kind of... Look, even if it was Whis is in on the plan to turn on everybody, I feel like deep down he's like, I want you guys to beat us. I want you guys to kind of take us down in some regards.
I could almost see it ending with Whis ending up as the new Grand Priest and having to control his siblings or something. It's revealed he's like the oldest or something.
Yeah. Well, especially when very early on we saw him and Beerus flying around, and Beerus like, can't you go any faster? And we stops in his tracks. He's like, I'm the fastest being in this universe. Do you want to try that again? And he's like, no, that's all right. But I could agree with that. It seemed like there was something in that regard that could have led to something, but overall, I don't know. I want to see it, but I don't know if we'll ever get it though.
Yeah, as I said, it's an interesting one. I almost feel like it would have to be something like the Grand Priest wants to take over and kill Zenosama to become the new, I guess, deity of everything.
Yeah, well, technically, you'd have to kill both of them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
one of them would end up dead at the end of the end of the season.
yeah, it would make a little more sense. But yeah, I can co-sign onto that.
All right, your first one.
All right, well, since you went with Dragon Ball, I'm going to go with mine. And while not technically a hero right now, he kind of might as well be. Lord Beerus.
Okay.
Look, I actually love the idea that they were not strong enough to beat Beerus very early on. At some point, though, I kind of would want him to revert back to the case of, I'm getting bored, but maybe not necessarily full blown villain, but in the sense of, you guys need to be ready just in case. And they finally have a full out one on one or multi person battle with Beerus. Because even in a sense, I still don't feel like we've seen Beerus's full blown power. I feel like the second we see it, it's going to get terrifying and things are going to get crazy.
Why do I have a feeling it involves him and the drunken fist? He actually like he gets drunk on Earth and starts going ballistic, and he unlocks like Ultra Instinct because he drinks his inhibitions away and all that.
Yeah, it's like people use alcohol to cook, but somebody used too much of it in the cake or something, and that's how he loses it.
Yeah, and he's just going crazy, and it's literally him going all out with his Ultra Instinct or whatever level he's at, and versus Goku and Vegeta just trying to protect Earth.
Yeah, except if he did go, but if somebody did have to defeat him, I'd want it to be the Vegeta because Vegeta was terrified of him as a child. It's not just because I love Vegeta; it's like Vegeta was terrified of him as a child, and it kind of comes full circle at that point.
I could understand that, and it would give another good point to him after the Dragon Ball Super movie that we got a little while ago, where we've already gone over this and it's been out for months. Vegeta beats Goku in the post-credit scene.
Yeah, and apparently that movie is like they're saying they're inching closer and closer to yeah, that movie's actually canon. So
Yeah, once they, I guess, reveal those forms in the manga, then we'll know it's canon officially.
yep, and I can live with that. But overall, like Beerus, they still have some unfinished business with Beerus. Plus, you can tell he's getting a little more nervous about their power increase.
Yeah, and I mean, they speculated that they were supposed to reach a point where they were on par with him, so it's got to
Yeah.
be getting close.
Yeah. Plus, he could also say, I'm still looking for revenge because that Yamcha guy was the first person to hit me in over 10,000 years or however long it was. I don't know.
What if Yamcha's the one who defeats Beerus? He's just like he's able to like figure out where the drunkenness is going or
I
something.
wanted to go with something a little more realistic, but at the same time, though, I would love it. I would love Yamcha taking over.
Yamcha, it's like, does this make me the strongest Z fighter? I mean, I
Sure,
beat Beerus.
sure, but yeah, Lord Beerus, just up for something different.
All right. So this is another interesting one. I think uh, you might be interested in. It's not necessarily a hero. He's only in a few scenes, and that's in the war arc, and that's uh Kawaku slash Han, the Jinchuriki from Naruto Shippuden slash the village hidden in the stone kind of thing.
Let me look up who this guy is because I don't think I know who you're talking about.
Okay, he's one of the Jinchuriki from that's already been captured by that point, of course. But I think that
Oh, this dude, I know him.
yeah, I think we could get a really good arc because the village hidden in the stone is the only one that didn't have like a major connection to the story until I think Boruto. Really, I mean, they were part of the five great nations, but I mean, we had let's see, the Sand Village had the tuning exams. The Hidden Mist had the Land of Waves arc. Um, the Hidden in the Cloud had pretty much the War arc was their big one, and we have the Village in the Leaves is where everybody's from, and then they didn't do anything until Boruto. So I think they could have had like a maybe kind of a filler arc or something where that's supposed to take place between Naruto and Naruto Shippuden, where they find out that Naruto's out of the village, so they send their Jinchuriki to try to attack the village, and it's follows like Kakashi leading the forces to stop them from invading or something.
Yeah, I'm okay. I can co-sign onto that. And all honesty, it felt like the other Jinchuriki were kind of something I was interested in learning about. Think
Mhm.
about like some of them got a little bit to do, and then there was that girl Fu who would always talk to Kakuzu and be like, "Hey, you're not a bad guy, are you?" And like, yeah, yeah, he's kind of a monster. But I don't know. There was something always about them that I found interesting, and Han in particular, like it was like a
Mhm.
giant horse thing. The Jinchuriki
Mhm.
were always the tailed beasts themselves were always very creative, and I just want to give them credit for that.
Yeah, it's one of those. I wish we could gotten more than them introducing themselves and then the Tsunade Jinchuriki dream arc. I think was or was that was Killer Bee's arc, wasn't
Something
it?
like that.
Yeah, one of those that we only got a little bit of information about them, and it's like, come on, these should be have all been introduced so that we feel when we see them dead, having the tailed beast extracted, we feel bad for them. The only one we cared about really was Gara at that point.
Well, and Killer Bee, but sure.
But Killer Bee wasn't introduced until the end, and he was Naruto's mentor, which was fine and
Good
great.
point. Not to mention, it also could have been great for some of the rest of the teams. I don't love necessarily the idea of the power of friendship and talking no jutsu, but they could have turned it around and be like, you know what? If you guys need us at this point, we'll find a way to repay you. And we could have seen them every now and then.
Mhm.
We could have still been conflicted in some senses because, like, oh no, you invaded our village. But it was also a filler arc, so no one really important died. So, you're cool.
Yeah, this could have been a good way to promote, like, okay, if this takes place, let's say they do the tuning exams arc, the second one, where they all the uh, Konoha 11 besides Naruto and Sasuke get promoted, but have this be the point where Neji and let's say Lee and uh, Shikamaru all get promoted to Jonin at this point because of their uh, abilities during this time
I
or
mean, I
something.
was gonna give Ten some love and just say, "Oh, Team Guy could be the leading force," and that's when they say, "Oh, Neji." It's like, okay, everybody gets to Chunin except Neji. Wait, what about Neji? Oh, he helped the most, so he's getting to Jonin.
I could see that.
I'm just trying to give Ten something to do.
Yeah, that they would be a good front line and give a good focus for because all the other team. Well, I mean, yeah, I'm trying to think. Did I guess it would be either them or Team Kurenai would need to get something because they're
Yeah,
the two teams that didn't really get that much, unfortunately.
yeah. I say that maybe we'll give Team Kurenai something else to do, but that's another point for another day.
All right, but your next one.
Yeah, and I can co-sign. I thought about putting this as a joke answer, but honestly, thinking about it, I kind of found a way to write it so, in a sense, it could be a very like heartwarming episode, and that is Chloe's Yamper from Pokemon Journeys.
Okay.
Honestly, I kind of just thought about it as Yamper's just like, oh, you're gonna ignore me? Well, I'm gonna go join Team Rocket or one of the other evil teams running around and be a bad guy, because Chloe kind of neglects it. On the other hand, though, then I start thinking to myself, wait, what about that episode where Pikachu got amnesia and joined Team Rocket? Maybe something like that, like Yamper gets hurt or confused or something and joins up with an evil team or the bad guys or something. And Ash and Go kind of have to tell Chloe, like, you're the one who has to save Yamper. You've known it for years. We can't do anything about it. And so I don't know. I think it could have just led to an episode where Chloe's like, maybe I have been kind of neglectful. Maybe I've been kind of hard, and Go can kind of be like, hey, like it happens. We're not always good to our friends, but as long as you show them you love them, then everything's gonna work out. Obviously, it would end with Yamper being happy and them making up and everything, but I don't know. I think it could have led to a cool episode.
I could see that. Yeah, it's been a long. I mean, probably like what part two of the last Pokemon Master Journeys. That was the last time we really had an episode that Yamper was a big part of it.
Yeah. I just want to say because it seems like everybody makes jokes like, "Oh, well, Yamper's just not around anymore. Chloe doesn't love Yamper," which the way she treats it, she probably doesn't. But still,
I mean, it's technically her dad's Pokemon, if I'm not mistaken. It's just it was like, I'll hold on to it for you kind of thing, but then she never came back and got it.
I'm just gonna say it's. I'm just gonna say it's hers. It makes far more sense that way.
Yeah, I could co-sign. That would be have been an interesting story arc. I almost want it to happen like where Eevee like copies one of the Emperor's moves, and that's when like it gets Team Rocketed or something, and that's
Sure.
where it happens, and then there's just confusion from that. So I could see this. This would be an interesting story, actually.
Yeah, see, it started off as a joke, but I kind of got into it. So, it's a little side tangent. Do you remember how insane that episode was? It's just like, oh, Pikachu got hurt, and now it's on Team Rocket's side. This is kind of scary.
Vaguely, I'm trying to remember. Was this? I know it was either Johto or Hoenn. I can't remember which.
It may have been Hoenn. I remember picking up a DVD like, oh, Pokemon DVD, that's cool. And I was like 10, 11 at the time. It's like, Pikachu joins Team Rocket. What? I don't remember this episode.
I remember it. I can't remember when it happens exactly, but I remember it's like, doesn't it end with like Ash and Pikachu falling in a river and Pikachu struggling to get away from Ash, thinking
Something like
he's his
that. And
enemy?
it gets its memories back. They have a montage with a song that I couldn't even recognize. I couldn't even tell you, oh, that's the song that got played when Pikachu. Like I couldn't do it
Okay, but yeah, this would be her. It's funny how this has probably been our longest talking point so far.
at this point. Like I said, like it's hard because I mean, when you're a little kid, you never think to yourself, oh man, I hope this hero becomes a bad guy. You don't like no, you don't do that. If anything, when you're a little kid or like when you're me, you want the bad guys to turn good so you can forgive them for like I don't know, blowing up a plant or something like that.
Yeah, that's yeah, Vegeta's done a lot of bad stuff in his life.
Yeah, but just I don't know. I just think it could have been something for Chloe slash Chloe's Yamper slash Cerise's Yamper. I don't know. It
Mhm.
started off as a joke, but then I'm like, oh no, I actually like this.
I could really see it, so I'll co-sign onto that. All right, my next one.
Sure.
So this is the one I mentioned that I think you know the manga better than me. Um, so he's not necessarily a hero, but he's not a bad guy in the anime, and that's Blaine from Pokemon, the gym leader.
Okay.
I really wish we had gotten like part of his manga backstory and stuff where he's a member of Team Rocket and trying to like from my understanding he's fused the three legendary birds from in the original manga and he helped create Mewtwo.
Yeah. Yeah. That's you're not wrong.
So just some of this darker storytelling. I know we never would have gotten into Pokemon. We've gone over that we kind of want a bit of a darker Pokemon anime, but we'll probably never get it. So this would be an interesting time for him to have just even just have been part of Team Rocket, been the other gym leader. The last two gym leaders have been completely taken over by Team Rocket.
Yeah, it would have been a good way to kind of hint, like, oh, you may have beaten me, but we're not completely done yet. It kind of symbolizing, oh, that's right, Giovanni's the last gym leader. Heck, what in Pokemon Origins when Red faces Giovanni, he's kind of like relearning his passion for battle. So Blaine could honestly just be a case of, hey, be careful. Like maybe he turns himself around and gives some information to them about Team Rocket. Honestly, evil gym leaders is something you'd think we'd get one like every now and then, but no, it almost never happens to be honest.
Yeah, I mean there was speculation, I think before Galar came out, that we were gonna get one that was in that. Nope. So
I had my suspicions about Pierce. I'm like, no, he's just cool.
Yeah, he's like he's a really nice guy who likes singing in a heavy metal band.
I would join in a heartbeat. But yeah, I can co-sign. I mean, well, a part of me kind of wonders about it because I'm gonna be honest. I don't know whether the anime or the manga comes out first, and I don't always need the anime to borrow from the manga. If the manga, it doesn't always have to happen. And at the same time, though, like they can take elements from each other. There's nothing wrong with borrowing stuff from your own stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, from my understanding, it's a surprising. It's what Lieutenant Surge, Sabrina, Koga, Blaine, and Giovanni are all either Team Rocket members or like Pokemon smugglers or something. They're all actually bad guys in the manga, from my
Yeah.
understanding.
Oh yeah, because Sabrina wasn't terrifying enough in the anime.
Now she's a psychic and a bad guy.
Hooray!
Yep.
But yeah, I can co-sign that. I like that answer.
Yeah, it was my most interesting one I could think of for Pokemon, I thought.
Okay. All right, my next one.
Go right ahead.
Okay, I know all the jokes we've made about this character, but I kind of just want to explain it anyway. Jonathan Joestar from JoJo's.
Well, he is the bad guy.
I know. You and I see him as the bad guy, but let me explain. For all the stuff that Dio puts Jonathan through, kissing his girlfriend and trying to keep, like, just all this dirty tactics and everything, and fights and everything, and manipulating him, I don't know. A tiny part of me would kind of like the what if scenario in the case of what if Jonathan actually ended up killing Dio, but it ended up like breaking him? Because as much as through everything Dio puts Jonathan through, Jonathan wouldn't. I could tell that Jonathan wouldn't really want Dio dead. In a perfect world, Dio would have redeemed himself and they would have been the best of friends. But I don't know, maybe a case of like I said, Jonathan kills Dio and feels horrible about it. But at the same time, he's still like, I'm too far down this path. I have to keep going. And maybe somebody saves him down the line. And I know it would alter a lot of JoJo's history. But at the same time, like I'm like, part of me's like, Dio is way too evil just to be like, well, I guess we just have to stop you. It's like, no, we have to kill this sumbitch.
Yeah, I could almost picture it being they have their big final fight. JoJo's dying, and he takes or Jonathan's dying, and he takes the stone mask and he puts it on and becomes the vampire.
How much of JoJo's have you seen?
The first two episodes, whatever we watched in college.
Yeah,
because
yeah, I remember because he said, "Oh, I want to give it a chance because we've never seen that much of it." I'm like, I've seen more of it than you, buddy. Don't throw me under the bus.
I mean, I know vaguely what happens in the first part.
Yeah, but no, you're basically right on that. That now ultimately, like I said before, as we know, Dio is actually the hero of this story. But for some people who don't seem to recognize that, maybe Jonathan turning could have been a good like what if story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll co-sign it. I do need to sit down one day and give JoJo's a chance because I know there's like 100 parts now. So
Yeah, and I think at some point we're going to end up passing Reese because he never is able to tell me where he's at when I ask him.
yeah, my main issue is that I'm caught up with the English dub of it, so I'm fine. I can watch like the 30 episodes that come out at a time of One Piece, so I'm fine there.
Something like that.
But yeah, I'll co-sign. I don't know the show well enough to know. Oh, he does become a bad guy in part 17, where he fights his great 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 grandnephew of something.
Something. Yeah. It gets kind of crazy at times, especially with Dio.
All right. So my next one.
Go for it.
All right. This one I don't think you'll know too much about, but I put Nezuko Kamado from Demon Slayer.
Okay.
So this is the main character's little sister who is a demon, but they've managed to prevent her from.
I've seen the memes and I've seen the cosplay. I know a little bit of who you're talking about.
Yeah. the main thing I have, I I really would love her like turn to the dark side, become a villain, be that she does it to save uh her brother from something like there's a scene in the most recent part where she kind of goes out of control, almost attacks a human after using her demon powers, and they're barely able to prevent it. So imagine it like she does that. I know vaguely what happens towards the end of the series. I'd love for her to have become one of the upper moons. Like she's so powerful. She, despite only having eaten like one or two people, she's become one of the strongest demons in this franchise, and is like is one of the top bad guys that they have to fight.
What would happen with the other guy? What's his face? The sleepy guy.
Oh,
I don't know his name.
I,
The guy who
maybe
sleep. The guy who
I know.
sleeps.
It took me a minute to remember who you were talking about. Maybe there could be a redemption arc somehow. That's the whole thing about where there are in the franchise is that they say if she has human blood, there's no redemption for her. But it's like maybe they find out if they defeat Muzong as the main bad guy, it'll reverse everybody else and save them. So maybe that's the way that just having taken blood from humans, she's not the same person that she was at that point. She's now got like a separate personality due to having eaten the human.
And I don't have a whole lot more. Like Demon Slayer's kind of on. Demon Slayer's weird for me.
Yeah, it's one that got pushed really heavily into like everybody's throats. It's like, oh my god, it's the best thing ever, and it's enjoyable, and I really do like it. Is it the best ever? I don't know. I'm not going to force it down anyone's throat. If you want
I
to watch it, go ahead and watch it.
I don't even think it's that. I think it's similar to what we talked about with whatever that anime you were talking about with the guy Re Zero. I think that's what it was that you said you didn't want to
Oh,
give a chance.
yeah.
People tell me, "Oh man, this show's really good." I'm like, "Oh, what's good about it?" Well, it's good. Yeah, yeah, but what specifically is good about it? It's good.
I mean,
That's not good enough.
I can tell you, for me, the reason I like Demon Slayer, it's got a very fluid animation, beautiful, and then the attacks have very beautiful, almost painting like qualities to them sometimes.
Yeah, that's the other
And
thing. But also, you kind of know for me, animation's not really
mm,
everything. Something can be beautiful, and I can still be like, this is kind of boring. But maybe one day.
yeah, I mean, the character. That's the thing with Demon Slayer. All of it's done pretty well. I really like all the characters. I like the storytelling, so that's kind of why I like it.
Storytelling, characters.
Mm.
See, you
Yeah,
already sold me on it better than anybody else on the internet.
yeah. So there you go.
Yippee, but I can co-sign.
All right, your next one.
Jiro from Blue Dragon. Honestly, like Jiro's backstory, like he loses his mom, his dad, and his sister to the main baddie. In some senses, it's kind of cool how he's still trying to be a hero, even though he's really, really strict. On the other hand, though, part of me kind of wishes maybe he'd gone through with killing the main bad guy and getting his revenge, but at the same time, it still kind of like breaks him a little bit. And then, of course, it could lead to everybody showing him that you can still move forward with everything. And also, not to mention, he ends up losing his shadow at some point. So, I don't know. Well, maybe just it wouldn't have to be a long villain arc. It wouldn't. It maybe could just take like 4, maybe 5 episodes or something like that. But I don't know. With that much loss with him, I don't know. I think a villain arc could be cool, especially with how strict he was. At times, it was kind of like, am I rooting for this guy? I mean, on the one hand, a lot of bad stuff has happened to him, and it sucks. But on the other hand, there are times you don't really feel bad when he gets smacked around. So maybe him being a villain would help in that regard.
I could see it. It almost sounds like you want a better version of My Valentine's bad guy thing from the filler arc. A better version, as I said.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Or I was also thinking a better version of Injustice Superman.
Okay, so just too much bad stuff keeps happening that that it leads to uh them turning to the dark side for I don't know 20 episode stint, and then
Yeah, and then of course they finally bring him around. I'm noticing. I'm also redeeming some of these characters. I don't like people being villains.
I could understand that. I don't know, we did grow up in a time frame where almost every villain becomes a good guy at some point. I mean, there's still some that are bad guys, but I mean, if you think about it, almost every single person besides Krillin was an actual bad guy in Dragon Ball at some
Yeah,
point.
I'm still waiting for Goku and Chi Chi to have another kid and Frieza to stop by with the birthday present. I'm still waiting for that at some point.
Just like it's just a bundle of bananas, and he goes, "There you go, little monkey."
I was kind of thinking the same thing actually, but I don't know. With Jiro was always kind of an odd case where I kind of thought, is he gonna turn bad guy? And then he never really did. And in some cases, that's really cool. But in other cases, I'm kind of like, maybe it could have, it might have helped in some regards. I don't know.
Okay, I can understand that. So I don't know Blue Dragon well enough, so I'll just co-sign onto it.
All right, honorable mentions time.
Yep, honorable mentions time. So this is the one I added last minute because I remembered I had thought about it at one point. I think it could be a really interesting one. We kind of got it, not really. That's Tristan from Yu-Gi-Oh! So we got him turn in the cyber war or the cyber arc, but uh, I think this could be a comedic one and have him taken over by a bad guy, and Joey has to be the one who frees him. It's like, but this would actually give us a chance to see more of Tristan's deck besides what I don't even remember what his deck had in that.
No, I was gonna say that as a joke. The villain takes over Tristan's body, uses Tristan's deck, but then he realizes Tristan's deck sucks.
It's like, why is the ace monster? I forgot whichever
The Cyber
golem.
Commander.
Oh, so well, no, I was thinking of like
The
lava battle guard or
something like Lava
swamp battle,
Battleguard, Swamp Battleguard. I don't remember which
whichever
one.
one of those. It's like, oh, okay.
This was a horrible idea.
And, no, but I think this would give Joey another good moment. As we've both said, we really like Joey. We wish he had more great moments. So this could have been a good chance for him to rescue someone.
Yeah. I mean, I thought it was a joke answer, but I'm kind of on board for it now, so I guess I co-sign.
Or it could lead to like Tristan wins and Joey ends up. That's how Merrick controls Joey.
Oh gosh. Oh gosh. And then they both duel again. And then they both duel against I don't know Duke Devlin or something, and Duke beats them.
With his dice deck.
Yep. But I
Uh,
can co-sign.
all right. And your next one?
All right. This is kind of another answer I was talking about. Kiba and Nakamaru from Naruto.
Okay.
Naruto kept farting in this man's face. That's kind of all. That's kind of all he needs. I'll have a whole lot more. In all seriousness, like it would make a funny, weird arc. Like maybe he gets taken over and he realizes like, "Oh, I turned because you kept ruining my life." It's just like, "Hey, we became friends after that." I was like, "No, you farted in my face." Seriously? Okay. I was scrambling. It's more of a joke answer. That's kind of all I got.
Well, I can almost see it. Like they'd have to change some stuff about him, unfortunately. But have it be like he was number two to Sasuke in everything in the academy, and so then that adds weight to that first battle where it's the bottom student versus the number two ranked student in their graduating year. Then have him lose to Naruto still, and it just sort of destroys him. We could almost have it be like his family expected him to make it to Chunin in his first time through the uh Chunin exams and all this, and now he's having to deal with all that, and it just slowly leads to him leaving the village. So then we have a sequel to the Sasuke retrieval arc is the Kibo retrieval arc.
Yeah, I was about to say, but it wouldn't be nearly as long, and it wouldn't even be nearly as serious. It could just be a case of, heck, it could even be a case of maybe he's even considering it, but then Shino shows up and they hang out for a bit. Because you could argue, without besides Akamaru, that Shino was Kiba's best friend down the line.
Heck, this could be the story arc that we were talking about for Team Kurenai. Like, give them like a whole thing of them trying to, I don't know, change Kiba's mind on how things are going.
Yeah, something like that. Not even necessarily. The farting thing was kind of more of a joke, but honestly, just I couldn't think of anything. Saying Naruto would have been a way too obvious. Saying Kakashi wouldn't have made it would have made a little bit of sense. I don't know. Kiba, because if I had to deal with he would have dealt what he dealt with getting farted it in his face like 3 or 4 times, I would have joined the Akatsuki by that point.
Okay. But yeah, I can understand that. And I think it actually could be an interesting story arc for him to be the, as I said, they'd have to change his character a little bit, but I think it could really work.
Yeah, but we've also talked about how they probably should have done that anyway because Naruto versus Kiba was just not a very good fight.
Yeah, but then you could end it like that and he have legitimate reason to be like pissed off. He like, I lost because of insert randomness fart here.
And not one person was rooting for him. That was sad.
Not even his own team.
Hinata wasn't. Kurenai kind of didn't say a whole lot, and Shino kind of just stood. Shino played no part in that fight. He's just like, I'm just here. I'm just here. I'm the only person on this team who's going to win in this arc, so I'm just going to stand over here.
He was like, I'm going to cheat. He was already spreading his bugs out to everybody so that he could instantly win no matter who he fought.
They did say that in the abridged series. They said Shino wins, but you clearly cheated. He's like, we're supposed to be ninjas. What are you talking about?
That is very true.
But anyways, let's get over Kiba.
All right. So my next honorable mention is one that you probably won't care too much about, and that's Ed Shot from My Hero Academia. I think this would just have been an interesting one to turn as a bad guy for the current arc, because it would have shown that the Paranormal Liberation Front has infiltrated the top 10 heroes. That's about it for this.
Does anyone fart in his face?
No.
Okay. Okay, well, it's already going better.
Yeah. The main reason is I think that the bad guys that are like the kind of like last half of the series, the Paranormal Liberation Front is literally what their name is, should have infiltrated the top 10 heroes, as I said. And he's like, I think number 5. He's had a few scenes where he's shown up for stuff, but that's about it. A lot of the other top 10 heroes that either don't show up for anything or have a much heavier role in the series. So that's why I picked him. It's like he shows up that right amount to be okay. He could be a bad guy and you wouldn't realize it yet.
Wasn't there supposed to be some traitor, or that you got? Or are they not at that yet?
Not in the anime. I know who it is through the manga, so I'm not going to spoil it for anybody.
Okay, but I guess if I cared, I guess I could co-sign. But I guess I co-sign, but I still don't care.
Yeah, this one was just a little one because it's like, okay, this could be an interesting one, I think.
Yeah. All right. So my next one. I don't really know if these guys had a name per se, but I'll just say the rivals from Bakugan.
Okay, so like the ones that they face like at the start of the thing before they are facing like the dark, whatever they're called.
Yeah. Okay, so Masquerade basically takes like the top 10 or so battle brawlers and basically like brainwashes them, recruits them. I don't even know if it specifically says how he got them to do his bidding, but he basically sends them out to battle the brawlers and just everything. A couple of them get defeated very easily and then turn back to being good guys, and some of them it takes a little more. I don't know. I kind of feel like some of them could have stayed villains even a little bit longer because by the time they're done, the series kind of gets boring for a little bit. It feels like less and less villains are doing stuff. All right, like less and less villains are sticking around. They're either getting redeemed or they're just not doing anything. So I don't know. Maybe some heightened drama could be like they don't save them till like closer to the end of the series or the end of the season per se.
Okay, I could kind of see that. Have some of the brawlers lose, and if I remember correctly, their Bakugan go to like the dark dimension or something.
Doom Dimension, but
Doom
close enough.
dimension. Okay.
That one of them lost, and it was a kind of a big deal. I don't even need them all specifically to lose, but they're bad. But it just happened way too fast, in my opinion.
Okay. So like have them spread it out over more episodes instead of just like
Yeah,
an episode of thing.
yeah. Also, we just don't need the endless bickering from the gang because that got really old at some point. I'm just like, Jesus, shut. I slowly stopped caring about what was going on.
Okay. I'll co-sign. I don't really know enough about, like as I said, I've seen bits and pieces of it. I just haven't seen the entire series. So,
Okay,
all right. My final honorable mention:
go for it.
Rimuru Tempest from That Time I Was Reincarnated as a Slime. This is the main character
Okay.
who's literally a slime. It has pretty much the most overpowered abilities possible. Um, they can pretty much eat anything and become that. They can summon demons. They become a demon lord themselves. It's just they're almost the stereotypical villain, except for they've realized that humans are corrupt in this world, and that the monsters that were just trying to live in peace and ended up like their territory keeps getting taken by humans to expand their territory. So I think it would be interesting if it was kind of if we got like a season that's from the other perspective. It's just a random human who's not necessarily a bad guy, but it it's just not that bad guy. They're a hero kind of thing and trying to save the day and defeat the evil monster. And their entire perspective is their stuff keeps getting attacked by Rimuru and his forces.
And I guess I can co-sign because I don't know the show that well, but sure, sure. If it happens, let me know.
All right,
All right, my last one.
you're right ahead.
From Bobo.
So does he lose his hair?
No, no, I honestly kind of just thought it would be a funny episode just to see, like somebody had like Beauty has a nightmare or something that Bobo turns into a bad guy, but he's the exact same character. So it's just weird. He's making jokes like, "Oh, we have to get rid of everybody's hair." It's just like, but you're not bald, so I don't know. Oh, I think with all the funny episodes and how, in all seriousness, they portray him as very likable, heroic, courageous, charismatic. Like they do a very good job of that, despite all the humor. Part of me feels like though it could be even hilarious if he's still basically a good guy, but just acting like a villain in some regards. It could have led to a couple of a hilarious episode that we never talk about again, ever.
Okay, yeah, I can almost see it. It's just like he's the I use what I'm trying to take from everybody else to defeat them, then I will get rid of my own hair kind of thing.
Something ridiculous like that. But of course, it's not even taken seriously. But they're all just like, "You idiot! You don't understand." And someone's like, "Hey, wake up! Wake up!" It's like, "Did you have a nightmare?" It's just like, "Yeah." And then she realizes, with all the craziness going on in her world, she's like, "You know what? On second thought, let me go back to sleep. That seemed far more easier to deal with."
It's just it's a much more normal world than it is where they're at.
Sure, but that it's something she would say because she got very frustrated with them.
Okay. I'll kind of co-sign. That sounds like it would make a hilarious episode for the series.
Yeah. Anyways, what's your last one?
All right. So this is another one that I know you know much better than I do. because you've played the video game
Okay.
Morgana from Persona 5.
I want to hear your reasoning first.
So I've played through the kind of the start of the second dungeon, castle, palace, whatever it's called at that
Palace.
point, um, with all the art and stuff. But I've watched most. I think I've got like 2, 3 episodes left of the anime, because that's how I'm getting the rest of the story. Because I just don't feel like buying the game.
Isn't
Um,
it free? Isn't it free on PlayStation Plus for?
it might be. If it is, then I need to get it so I can play it.
Yeah, because when I first got my PS5, it's like, oh, download Persona 5 for free since you have PlayStation Plus. Whatever. Go ahead.
I'll have to see. But there's a scene where he's in one episode, and I don't know if it's in the. This is later on, where he kind of has a nightmare where his shadow seems to be there. It'd be really kind of interesting if, and he goes through this period where like Ryuji's making fun of him and stuff for, yeah.
No, no, no. Here's the thing. You're not saying anything specifically wrong, but part of okay, one I can kind of co-sign, but when you talk about Ryuji's not that nice to him, and my counterpoint is always Morgana was never nice to Ryuji, so
That is true.
maybe it's biased because I love Ryuji, but yeah, I could yeah.
But just Ryuji could take it, Morgana couldn't.
Oh,
It's
okay,
kind of
that makes it
I
okay.
it doesn't. But let's say that that's kind of what leads like his Ryuji's comments combined with his own worry and the little things like um with like all of them calling him kind of like the mascot and cute and all that leads him to like self-doubt, which leads to his shadow taking form and developing a palace where he's wanting to be the one who knows all about the distortion world and all that, and then and being like all knowing, and they have to defeat it to kind of change his personality back. Like he starts wanting to change other people's hearts that aren't necessarily bad or anything.
I could, part of me always kind of wondered with all the nightmares he was having, like, oh, that's going to be factor in a major role, and it kind of does, but also kind of doesn't. And spoiler alert for everybody, well, it's a mini spoiler. In Persona 5, the last battle doesn't feel personal in the slightest. Like it kind of stinks in that regard. Like you know Akechi, right?
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen all of his stories so far?
No, but I know vaguely what happens.
And I've talked about them a little more. Like I would have thought he would have played a little bit of a bigger role, but he doesn't really. Well, at least not until Royal, sort of, kind of. I don't know. The last battle you have is not really personal. It's not somebody who's like, oh my god, you've done this horrible thing to us. It's just like, oh cool, we have to fight this guy. Okay. So maybe Morgana in some senses could work. I guess I'm more okay with it in some regards because I've said before Morgana's might be my least favorite character. I can't. I actually said at some points I can't stand this little shit.
As I said, it could be that like little corruption over time kind of thing that leads him to like overcompensating and leading to his shadow forming and all that and getting a treasure and a palace of his own.
Yeah, as long as it wouldn't just turn into, oh, Ryuji, this is all your fault. It's like, no, clearly you guys weren't helping either. You can't throw this on me. But I don't think Ryuji would even say that.
No, it would come down to like his own insecurities and stuff that led to the creation of it and trying to compensate for them. And I think from my understanding, there's a lot that's revealed in sort of Royal. Because I looked up a little bit just to make sure I wasn't gonna say something like, "Oh, he does actually turn in the games," but he gets a human form after they defeat his shadow and free his treasure. That literally like frees him from that or something. But I know there's a bit more to his story than that.
Yeah,
So
sort of. Royal gets kind of trippy at times. Do you have a favorite character so far?
Um, I'd have to think about it. I'm still not, as I said, I'm not done with the series. I do like Ryuji a lot.
Oh no,
He's funny. He's a jerk, but he doesn't mean to be.
oh no, Ryuji's the best. I've said before, he is my favorite character. I love Ryuji.
Yeah, and you feel like he's labeled as a bad guy by everybody else because of but he was always the one trying to stand up for what was right, and you feel bad for him because he's been rejected because of that.
Exactly. Exactly. But yeah, I can co-sign Morgana. It would have made the end game a little more personal because it wasn't.
Yeah,
All right, my last character.
go right ahead.
All right, you picked a character who we could both talk about, so I feel good because now I have a character who we could both talk about.
All right.
From Yu-Gi-Oh! The Pharaoh.
Okay.
I don't know. And I know it's filler and I don't even want to get into it that much, but whenever they talked about, oh, Pharaoh, there's a good chance you could have been evil. There's a good chance that you could have done some bad stuff. I like that idea. Play that up. Do something with it. I kind of would have liked that, even if in the end it would turn out, yeah, I did some bad stuff, but in the end, you guys all taught me about friendship and all this other stuff. I think it would be kind of cool if it turned out, oh, maybe the Pharaoh really was a bad guy. Maybe the Pharaoh gets corrupted somehow into doing some bad stuff. Heck, it could be nice if even Kaiba, of all people, kind of showed, hey, you're not this monster. You're a good person. We've both grown from each other, and you need to be a hero. Well, deep down, oh, we'd all be thinking, what the hell is Kaiba saying? This isn't our Kaiba. But it could help for Kaiba's development, too, in some cases.
Yeah, I actually had kind of an interesting idea while you were talking right there. Like they find a tablet that's supposed to be like it portrays the pharaoh as having like forced the slaves of Egypt into building stuff, and it's like there's flashbacks of the pharaoh kind of getting some memories or something because this takes place kind of at that point where he would be getting some of his memories and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, and he starts thinking, "Oh, I was a bad guy. I forced these people to build monuments to me." But then it's kind of revealed, no, he actually didn't know. He thought everything was okay. It was one of his servants thinking that he could get ahead by doing this, and the pharaoh really didn't, or something. So there's kind of a, was I a bad guy, without kind of mystique about the pharaoh at this point.
Yeah, heck, it could have added some dimension to Bakura in some senses because Bakura, it finally takes at this point that Bakura's like, okay, I'm gonna start putting my plan into action. Maybe he could even be the cause of it in some regards, like because it's like, oh snap, Bakura was able to do that. Really, this guy, or even in some cases, Bakura unintentionally kind of helps them. It's just that's it. I don't know. Season 5 was kind of weird for me. Would I call it bad? No, but it kind of felt like something was missing from it in some cases.
From what I remember, there's a lot of, I pull out a card. Okay, now I summon it. It's not an actual duel. It's just I summon my monster via the magic of this time.
Yeah, you're not completely wrong about that. I don't know. I just think Ink would heck. It could even be a callback in some sense cases to season 0. We don't need him like burning people alive or anything like that or something horrible. But just I don't know. Maybe acknowledge that we. Why have we been trusting this dude for the past 5 or so years, or however long it's been? You know what I mean?
Yeah, like there could almost be like some as I said, I'm kind of going based on like what I had created in my mind, where it's like one of his servants was forcing the people to build monuments or something to him without telling him, and someone comes and badmouths the servant, and he like mind crushes this person, saying, "You don't badmouth my servant," and it's slowly revealed that, oh no, the servant's been doing this, and you just mind crushed a random person who was coming to help you.
So similar to Alon from Pokemon, like he kind of thought he was doing something right, but the second he saw what was wrong, he's like, "Oh, I messed up."
Yeah, I think that would be a good thing for the Pharaoh kind of to do. He's not necessarily the actual bad guy, but he does some bad things thinking he's doing the right.
Yeah, and now I want Alon and the Pharaoh to hang out.
They're just best buddies.
Yeah, they have a secret handshake and everything. But yeah, I like either just like I said, something for the Pharaoh. But something for the Pharaoh. Maybe it could have added some intrigue to season 5.
And it could made season 4 make a bit more sense, unfortunately, with the whole because Raphael's constantly saying, well, you are the bad guy.
Yeah,
And
the thing is, I like Raphael. Oh, like I like the idea that maybe he's right about this, but they're just like, oh no, you're just evil, you're just evil because you're evil.
yeah, unfortunately they do that, and it's like, oh, really?
And like I said, I really like Raphael. You know, especially in the abridged series where towards the end, and Darts keeps revealing all this stuff about his life, and he's like that, and Raphael's like, yeah, none of that makes any sense. What are you doing?
We're in what, the second half of season 4 now, and we're finally there. I can't remember where we got to in the abridged series before its current state.
I think we finished off season 4, and that's the weird thing. In all seriousness about that, I feel like that could have been a good case to bring the Orichalcos dudes back and kind of realize, hey, we messed up. Let's redeem ourselves, because they had some, in theory, they had some pretty cool things about them. Heck, we could even have Joey and Valen team up with their armor cards.
That would be absolutely hilarious. Just it's not even that they're like, okay, activate dual disc, summon all the armor. All right, and then they just run up and start punching the person. It's not even that they're dueling; they just start beating them up in the armor.
I'm okay with that, and then at that point, maybe they become best friends because they're very similar to each other. And then they finally release the armor cards in real life, because that would be amazing.
It would be interesting, like a whole set of like equip things that um that would be interesting. You get a whole set of equip things that you put on a monster and it affects them. You could do it on the duelist, but I'm thinking like for duel links that like you get 3 pieces of it and you put them on the field and you get more effects if you have all 3. Or
Yeah, something like that. I'd be cool with that. And then the second we finally get Yu-Gi-Oh holograms in real life, no, everyone's going to be using those cards. It's going to turn into a nightmare.
all right, but yeah, no, I'll completely co-sign. That would be a very interesting story, and kind of it almost fits for for how dark Yu-Gi-Oh actually got at that point sometimes.
Yeah, yeah. Then again, it also would kind of be a case of, oh, the good guy turns bad, because apparently that happens with a lot of main characters in Yu-Gi-Oh. The good guy will turn bad, kill a lot of people, come back, fix it, and then everybody's back to normal.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, no, I can see it.
May John Cena have mercy on your soul.
He never does.
Nope, and you don't deserve it. But are we ready to close out?
I believe so.
Alright, so, ladies, gentlemen, and others, what heroes do you think could have gone through a villain arc? A popular hero, a hero with a legitimate reason, just anything. And would you like them to redeem themselves at the end? Would it be serious? Would it be joking? Just anything at all.
Exactly. And is there do you think any of these may actually happen? I mean, we've been speculating for years about my first one, the Grand Priest and stuff, so you never know. They may actually happen.
Yeah, I could definitely see it. And just let us know. Oh, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and all that other nonsense. Take care of each other, be good to yourselves, and we'll see you next time. This has been Alex.
And Richard.
And you have been listening to the Anime Egotists. Good night. Peace easy.